best Macca's burgers ever. Ace trainer Cody Castle in the chat says, I like the OPL studio more than I do other regions. It seems a lot more laid back. Even our microphones are so laid back that the batteries take the day off. But I assume we caught the end of Tommy's enthusiasm there.
And look, I can assure you, we are way more laid back. Like, having worked with you guys, you don't give a shit what's going on in this studio. Like, no professionalism anywhere.
Covered in ramen. Covered. I mean, that was just strong from go to woe.
That's a shellacking. That is a...
Oh, was it a technical shellacking?
It wasn't a technical shellacking, but if you get 315 CS in 25 minutes of gameplay and Flame Horizon your opponent,
it's a good time.
That's a good time. That's why Tommy's happy, right?
Yeah.
He's 60 CS ahead of the clock and 100 CS ahead of his late opponent.
Yeah.
I'd be bloody stoked.
And I love how he like frames it like, I thought I played good today. You know, just good.
Yeah.
It is just like absolutely popping off. But yeah, that was a little bit of a disaster from the red side of the map. Things looked all over the place, and that was another one of these victories for the Bombers. You know, they had a very strong showing versus Chiefs. Game a little bit closer versus Direwolves there, but this is, as we talked about, like leading into this game, they are looking like they're getting better and better. And I like that you like prompt Ryoma, and he's like, you know what? This is our style. We play strong top side of the map.
Yeah.
They have Ryoma, Mimic, Wilder, and it's like, pick Sonatam Kench. That is like very defensive, very heavy weak side. It's obvious, and he's not like trying to hide things. It is obvious for other teams to pick that up, but they know their style. They're playing towards it, and it's just looking so good.
And so Positive Paul over here has just done a really good job of highlighting, what the Bombers did really well. On the flip side, I always say this about Gravitas. They're one of those teams that comps need to make sense. If a Gravitas comp does not make sense, I immediately get very scared for the Gravitas lineup because I go back to it. They're at their best when, the parts come together and they make a great team.
It's like TFT. You need those synergies.
Absolutely. And when you are playing a mid laner that is going to spend 100% of the game under their mid lane turret, not 90% of the game under the mid lane turret, you cannot win as Gravitas.
Yeah.
You do not have the individual players to lose complete control of the middle of the map because that means Pabu can no longer play his game. There is no point picking a Lucian lane if you cannot bully a lane and push with it, because Lucian gets outscaled by every 80 carry in the patch, right? So as soon as you lose that much control around it, this isn't a team that is the Chiefs. The Chiefs don't give a crap if you smash them in the first 15 minutes. They are so confident they'll win that Baron fight, they'll win a Dragon fight, they'll get a flank that they'll be able to bring themselves back into it. They're not a Mammoth who can stem bleeding and slow the game down. This is a team that needs to be cohesive and needs to be able to play towards a game plan. And I just don't understand and how that was going to happen in this game versus what they were going up against.
I know that we're not in the minds of Gravitas at the moment.
Yep.
Did you see a gameplay in there that they were like, oh, we're just trying something different, or it felt like, oh, we don't actually know what we're trying?
I think it was a little bit of Vladimir has risen in popularity and games in OS have slowed down, and you're playing against a much better team. So sometimes you roll the dice on, we need to get a scaling piece in this composition, and Vladimir seems to be the best scaling piece at the moment in the OPL. Globally, it doesn't really seem that way. So it could have potentially been that. I don't know. You've probably got more insight.
I mean, it's also the thing with 9.14 is a very big patch, and you're coming at it. This is the first time we're seeing these teams play. So whether it because a lot goes into the week before this, and it's we just see the one game that happens on the weekend, right? So you look at it, and it's teams have different reads on what they want to play. Was this Gravitas? Speak to the coaching staff after this game. That the players reviewing it is this a situation that we wanted to be in? I don't know whether they could very easily be yes, that was actually, we liked that one. Or they could just be you know what? No, that sucked. It wasn't good for them. And League is kind of that game where both teams can come out of draft phase and be yeah, man, this is sick. We're in a good position. So ultimately it's very hard to tell.
We should start interviewing the defeated teams. That's what we should do.
Yeah, okay.
Get some tears in here and get some answers.
What was the problem?
What did you specifically do wrong?
Which one member are we blaming for this one?
All right, well, speaking of highlighting individual members, we're going to play a little game.
Okay.
This was inspired by an interaction I had on Twitter. So this game is called The Most Likely Game. You may have played a version of this at some point in your life. So this was actually inspired by Pulse. OPL's own Pulse. Frosk, who you may be familiar with, tweeted out during the week that today she had an opportunity to ask our mysterious guests anything they wanted. So what do you want to know about them? Tweeted that out. And then Lol Arkangal responded and said, which caster or analyst would win the Hunger Games? To which Pulse responded, if it was regional, then OS would win hands down.
Especially after the additional information we learn about you.
Please. And so I thought that, well, this would be an interesting thing to like figure out who would survive the Hunger Games, and then we just came up with a bunch more
As long as Jake doesn't have to lug a walk around in the wilderness, we learned that, last year when he's just sitting. You don't remember this?
Walks are hard.
He's sitting on this couch
walks are hard,
screaming,
that's right.
walks are hard.
Walks are hard.
Yeah,
no, I
walks
do
in the
remember
Hunger
that.
Games, and
Yeah.
then Jake's bloody sorted.
Yeah, so you don't want that.
Easy.
So I'm just going to ask the questions. Everyone gets to vote on who they think would be the most likely, and then we can just all argue about it.
All
So
right.
the first one is, who do we think would win in a Battle Royale Hunger Games
What
scenario?
are the rules
in
of the
OPL?
Battle
Just between
Royale?
us?
Okay, do you, how specific do you
Is
want
there
to get?
weapons?
There's definitely weapons.
Are they ranged weapons?
Yes, there's a combination.
Okay, do I get to take my glasses?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Surely, we go in there with what we've got currently, and you can pick weapons up and blah 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 blah. There's food, but
Yep.
so you get your glasses, you can see.
Yeah.
Alright.
So who do we think would win?
I am putting myself at the top of the list.
Really?
I'm pretty handy, and I can throw. I played a lot of sports. I'm coordinated. I can throw a spear.
Okay, so
I'm
you're
not about
sa-
that melee
So
combat.
you're saying you. I bet you're saying you.
Yeah, because
I'm
I'm nastier than everyone. So
Okay,
what
we'll
the
get
thing is,
just before we get to
Okay.
this. I'm saying me. I'm guessing Rusty is saying Rusty.
I was gonna, if it's a battle royale like the traditional ones, I would win by being in the middle of the zone and hiding the whole time. You
And
can't
Pulse?
get me.
That's definitely.
Are you
going
going to buck the trend?
No, I would say a hard second because I would be very good at hiding, watching you guys fight it out, trying to be first, and I would just slip in at the end. And maybe I'll just beat the person.
So who do you
who's
think would
wounded.
win?
I can't tell if what you said about yourself is true copy pasta or real.
Okay, cool.
This-
So now you can justify because I feel like this is the only one where everyone is like, it's me.
This is really funny because, in the show Survivor, I've watched enough highlight reels, and I'm forgetting the term. I believe it is the goat, and it's just you lead the goat to the final because you want to be
Yeah.
as a player,
Like
you,
attached to
yes,
the-
and
yeah.
Pulse is man, I'm the goat. Second place, get me to the final, but then his head's being chopped off.
Yeah, that's true.
second.
That's
so
lovely.
why do you think you can win because you throw shit?
What? No, you know what I mean? I'm
You
quick.
played sport
I'm
in
tall,
high school.
quick. I'm coordinated, so I'd be good. None of us have training with a weapon, but I feel like you know what I mean. So that was a lot of coughs. Who's got weapon training in here?
Well, he's from Queensland, so 100% he shot
Yeah,
something.
totally. He did.
And he
oh,
shoots
okay.
stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
And
I
also,
can't beat a gun.
I do need to say, Bryce, that at the start of this, you're like, I've played sports, and
Yeah.
you've never beaten myself in Spawn in sports as well. as we have
we've
played.
Hold on, you're better than me at basketball. I'll give you that.
You
Really?
said sports?
You're
Yeah.
like 3 feet taller than him.
No, but he's actually he's good. He's good.
Okay, he's just very good at
No,
basketball.
I haven't played for
Yeah.
years, but Rusty can still land a shot. I probably can't.
I think that a certain point comes down to this
Yep.
of can you kill someone?
That is the question.
Another human being.
Yeah.
And I'm quite confident that I'm the only person in this room that
Enough
could kill a
pent-up
human
anger.
being. That could kill a human being with a smile on their face.
Can I tell you the hilarious thing about this? Because I was thinking about this afternoon, and I was like, who would I vote? I was like, well, I reckon I would win for that reason. And then I went, who would come second? And I was like, it'd be Jake. And I'm like, the two dads are the ones who I feel like are the most bloodthirsty. Because that is the question.
Yes.
And this is a safe space to have this discussion in. But it is all about, see, I think you're too nice.
Yeah, when
That
I'm down on
you're
my
a
hands
troll,
and
but
knees,
you're very nice.
you've trapped me. I'm pleading for my life. You're not the person to go for the jugular. You're going to let me down. I'm going to find you, and I'm not going to return the favor.
I'm gonna whip you in the knees. You're gonna be begging for mercy, and I'm gonna feed you to my goat.
Also, the other thing that you need beyond all the normal, because I feel like fitness is not necessarily the most important thing.
Survival skills.
Yeah, is cunning and the ability to lie, and you're a terrible liar as well. And so, I could betray you in a heartbeat. I've betrayed you twice today already, and you don't even know. So okay, good. So we all think it's just ourselves.
I want Twitter's vote. Can we get and Twitch chat? Can we get a poll put up somewhere?
Yeah, so I will organize a poll and we'll get the answer for the
Good.
next one.
Yeah.
Because I would like that information as well. Pulse.
Yeah.
After you've, Rusty, you get to give your pitch now because obviously you're a physical specimen. You're a hunk of a man, both
That's
physically
mid-beast.
and emotionally.
No, I mean, I said it at the start, right? My goal would not be to kill everybody. It would be to
Coward.
tactically play it so that you kill each other, and then I just have the one-on-one at the end.
Right. Okay. Right. So you only need to take out one person. Is your goal?
I'd be in a tree above the middle of the battlefield.
But see, how do
literally
you win
rude.
a battle royale? Is it about the chicken dinner? Because you don't get the most points for chicken dinner.
We're not having a best of 3 battle royale.
We're having a best
You die,
of.
you're dead.
It's about living.
You're a human being.
That's true. That's
Maybe
true.
you die. and you're dead, bro.
So then, Pols,
Yeah.
you've heard the pitches.
Uh-huh.
Who do you think? Because you have the deciding vote now. Because we all voted for ourselves.
Oh, who do I think out of
Yeah,
this
because you
group?
said you're a definite second.
Yeah.
So who
right.
do you think would win?
That's true.
And it may be first, right? Depending on how wounded the last person is. I don't know. You know, I feel actually like the two dads would actually just like fight each other immediately because they're too bloodthirsty, right? And then we've got Ejin, right?
No, we would
You're
create
like
a
the-
daddy
No,
daycare
I was going to say
alliance.
we would absolutely team up, and then at the end go, "Do you want to just like stay here because it's better here?" And then,
What,
and then we
there's
just
no
live
cry?
here forever. Yeah, that's the ultimate dream. Okay, there we go. Now
say
we.
Ejin.
What?
Yes!
Bryce.
Yeah.
He'd be
He's
too busy
coming
in his
last.
Because he's the
spreadsheets,
wild
man.
card. Yeah,
That is
exactly.
messed up.
Yeah, my
That is
spreadsheet.
messed up.
Spreadsheet of
Can't
battle
take that
royale.
spreadsheet.
I'm not happy with any of that. Okay,
That's sick. That's a great outcome.
from that question to this question, who's more likely to help their dad in the yard?
I'm going to go with DJ Paulie B on
That's
this
me.
one.
Yeah, I'm gonna go
Bryce
with Bryce
Paul.
as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
same.
It's 100% Bryce Paul.
Yeah, I used to
Not
follow
even.
it when I was a kid. Like, he'd do some like actual gardening. I lived in Brisbane, and I used to follow him around with one of those little toy spades and
Yep.
buckets.
Yep.
I was obviously doing just jack shit.
Like
But,
hindering.
You know, yeah, I was in the way. And then, but yeah, I was an unbloody expert. You've actually planted a lawn recently. Though,
I did,
so
but
your
I said
gardening skills.
I was going to tell that story.
Yeah.
So my dad rocked up at my house at 6 o'clock and banged on my window because the door didn't get the job done because I was asleep.
Is this recently?
Yeah,
Yeah.
when I moved into my house, like exactly the story that Bryce was talking about. And I walk out and there's just a pile of soil dumped on my nature strip and 3 boxes of grass seed and a wheelbarrow and 2 shovels. And I was
He's like, I've killed a man in a battle royale. We need to bury him.
and I was like, Dad, you know you can pay people to do this.
Yeah.
Like, we're not peasants.
Yeah.
We don't need. We're not in Italy anymore. We no longer need to till the land to make a living. Like, I'm an esports commentator. You're a financial planner. We have no business planting grass seeds.
It's very true.
And he was like, "No, this is like this will make you grown up." And I bled for days.
The hands.
My hands
Yeah.
were like just
Look at those gamer hands.
Yeah.
these precious gamer hands. These are the hands. They're soft and subtle. But yeah, they just bled. It was miserable. I hated it every moment.
I like so. BMR Josh says, "Does Nick Boy even mow the grass?" So, like you said, yeah, you helped out, and that's lovely. You with your grass story was like, you know, we could get someone else to do this, and me again proving why I'll win the battle royale. I used to mow the lawn because my my stepdad was like, you can get $5 an hour for mowing the lawn, like it's your pocket money. He stupidly said per hour, so I would go out there and I
Yeah.
would put the ride-on lawnmower on the highest possible setting, do a lap around like a massive farm garden for like 2 hours, and then I'd look at it and I go, I don't think it's short enough, and then I'd lower it down one more gear, and then I'd just go, and I was out there for like 8 hours a day mowing the lawn.
It's a whole $40.
And I thought I was taking advantage of him, but now I realize he
Yeah.
was actually like, this is a great way to just get him out of my business for 8 hours a day, and it only cost me $40. So I do mow the grass, but I like that we all agree that Bryce is
Yeah,
the
Bryce
most
would do it
wholesome
with a
out of
smile
all.
on his face. You would do it because you had to do it.
Yeah.
I would pay someone.
And you
to
would
do
pay
it.
someone else to do it. Can I ask quickly before we jump into the next game? Were you doing it because you like spending time with your dad, like you like being helpful, or you like
I
gardening
was a
work?
child. What do you like?
But why would you do it now?
I have
Oh,
kids. They don't want to
said-
do
Oh, yeah.
anything with you if they don't want to.
Say again.
So you're not a child anymore, right? So this is the story right now. KP
Oh, yeah,
goes,
yeah.
Bryce, I need a hand in the garden.
Yeah.
Bryce says yes. Nick says, if I have to. I say no.
Yeah, I'd do
So
it.
why do you do it?
No, it'd be fun. I actually I don't spend a lot of time like doing like, you know what I mean? I commentate esports. I play a lot of League of Legends. Like getting out and like doing stuff is actually entertaining. And now that I've said this, Dad's gonna literally ask
Oh,
me
for sure.
to like come
Build a bed without a mid beam.
like fix the garden back at home. But unluckily for him, he lives in Canberra, so it's a 3-hour trip away. You can't make that. It's bad luck, Dad.
I mean, there's a lot of reasons why it's unlucky to live in
Yeah.
Canberra. All right, well, there is the answer. We only got through 2 questions, so we'll jump back into this for the next one. But it is time for game number 2. And game number 2, Order versus Mammoth.
Yeah, okay. Top of the table clash. At least for Mammoth side, I guess. Order. Order. What are they? They're sitting 5 and 7
technically
right
true.
now.
It's real hot in here. It's,
yeah.
getting just real steamy.
Yeah, Spooks is having a cheeky yap in the playing room. But yeah, Order have kind of got their season back on track. Started very rough. on the up and up, and Mammoth have just looked straight out good from the start, the
Yep.
get-go, right? This is their season where they have really actually come together and shown the fruits of what like a super team can sort of look like. And yeah, this will be a difficult game, I think.
Yeah, I certainly agree. And I think that when you have a look on Mammoth's side, this patch seems to have really suited them. Fudge has come into his own. I think that he's a great new addition to their 6-man lineup and kind of masks some of their difficulties I think that Order were able to exploit in last year's Gauntlet. So, that's things like, Spooks and Swiffer being able to go directly at people like Babbitt with how strong the solo laners are on this current patch. It's very hard to track and kill junglers, that kind of thing. So I think that this is going to be a very difficult game for Order to win.
Also, speaking of Hunger Games skills, Calvin Trong, King, he's got a good bloody ace in the hole on him. Tell you what. That went way over your head. Just sit on it. It's fine.
It's time for the Macca's Champ Select.
Maybe the first time that he's thrown out a pop culture reference that everybody else doesn't get.
Yep. I'm not sure. All right, fair enough, Bryce. No, I like it.
Rusty?
He's just saying he's good at Caitlyn, Nick. He's just saying he's good at Caitlyn, just so we can translate for you.
It's fair. You didn't ask the last question, though. Are you good with your hands, Rusty?
Am I good with my hands?
Yeah.
I get
You
out,
can take that anyway.
I get out and about, and I can, mow the lawns, clean the garden, everything. I just despise it. So I'm more in the Jake Tiberia route here, where I would rather say no than do it. But if I have to, you do.
Yeah, fair. All right, let's get into this game. Order and Mammoth. 10-2 currently, Mammoth. A lot of close games, I would say, recently, but still a lot of winning.
Well, that's the thing with Mammoth, right, is like they've been notoriously hard to beat in the early game, and they always come back. And teams like Direwolves that have been able to take it to them couldn't kill the Nexus, and that's all that matters to Mammoth. They'll win the game still. They're just good enough players to be able to do that. And while Bryce jokingly says this is a top-of-the-table clash when you can see the win-loss records on the screen, it is still an Order that could be threatening the top of the table if their form continues in an upward trajectory. A lot of the teams that were 5th, 6th, 7th in the league are starting to really find themselves where, teams that are in the middle of the pack are starting to find themselves wanting. So there is still a push, and there is still a world where you say what is literally on top of the standings right now may not be the best team in the league right now. And so that is something that you'll have to continue to explore here is, Order may have lost their last game, but Swiffer's form was fantastic, and that's a big deal for them.
Yeah, I mean, to go back to that point, right, Swiffer was playing Yasuo in his last game, which is something that, as a player, Swiffer has never brought out, ever. You wouldn't associate Swiffer with being a Yasuo player. Brings it out, has a great game, still loses the game, though, right? So I think, in terms of that game specifically, we saw a lot of great individual performances, but again, they're facing a team where Mammoth, they're happy because they'll still take down the enemy Nexus, right? Order can have the best game of their lives and still not win the game.
Yeah.
And that's ultimately what it's all about, So, Order, do I doubt that they still have, the mechanics to beat their opponents in lane to do well in the mid-game? No, not at all.
But see,
we'll be able to close.
That's already a talking point, however, is Order should not be the type of team that is defined by their mechanical ability. Usually they're a team of very experienced players that have played together for such a long time. The only new additions at the bottom lane, and when they do well, Order seem to never lose, right? So keeping that in mind and then saying that the mechanics isn't going to be the reason they're losing against a team like Mammoth, surely this is then just a good matchup for them, right? Where they can come in and just try and play the map, and really it becomes down to who plays better macro League of Legends. And that's a big deal against a team like Mammoth, who is literally in first place.
Yeah, literally in first place, picking up Silas and Jarvan right here. They banned away the Sejuani, the Zaya, and the Karma. On the opposite side, Order to take away the Lucian, Irelia, Azir, first picking Yumi as we look towards the next couple of first picks right here. But with Lucian being off the table, we're not going to see another Lucian Yumi pick.
No, we will not. The things that I would like to see, however, from Order here is actually the Olaf to be picked up with the AD carry of choice. I'd like to see them match junglers. Now, Olaf is one of the few champions where historically you're like, they've just picked Jarvan into Olaf, GG Olaf, but now that Conqueror's come out, now that you actually have tools to stand still and you just fight, they've just set up an arena for you.
Yep.
Olaf loves this matchup. If they don't pick it, I worry it would be banned. And so you have to look towards, is there anything that is more important to go with a Sivir and a Yumi right now? They deem yes.
Yeah. Sivir and Corki coming through. Now, we have seen a good amount of Corki. I'd say a lot of it has actually been from Gravitas, to be honest, throwing it into the top lane.
And the thing that Order now have to look at is what jungler they want. And I think early pressure is the most important thing you'll get. You're against the Jarvan, however, so you could look towards a Rek'Sai, perhaps try and take that matchup. You could go towards a Gragas, who can still spike and have a lot of gank pressure at, say, the Boots of Speed purchase at 300 gold with Predator. So I'd like to see where they choose to go now in terms of, can they get early pressure? Because the thing with Corki, good pick, good priority champion for certain, but is still a bit of a scaling pick in the mid lane. Doesn't always win lanes levels 1 to 5 where the jungler needs to compensate.
And yet again, 2 out of 2 games we're seeing a Tam Kench pickup right here. And I know you, Rusty, had a tweet that you threw out very early.
Yeah, Blitzcrank?
Blitzcrank,
Yeah.
that happened to do very well.
Yeah.
We haven't seen a Blitzcrank pick
I
up
know.
into Tam Kench yet. And by yet, I mean literally over 1 game. Is it going to happen? Yes or no?
Gotta hope so. I think the answer is no. But, you know, the thing with Tahm Kench is it does a role. And that role is not win lane. And there are a plethora of champions that you can then, you know, theorize that could go into that pick if it is ever a blind Tahm Kench. And it's not this time, right? So will we ever see a Blitzcrank? Maybe. I think the question is, will we see blind pick Tahm Kenches to enable these strategies?
Sure.
Because I'd love it. I just want Blitzcrank in every game, honestly. He's exciting to watch.
He is very exciting to watch. A single hook can change the course of the entire game. And Kiana, with a ban on her. Skarner. Kennen. I also want to see more Quinoa play. We've only seen...
Yeah, Keanu
one
Reeves
so
would be very
far.
good to see, but is a high priority
Not all of it,
champion
no.
right now, so I'm not shocked to see it being banned so consistently.
Yeah, meanwhile, Mordekaiser, you know, had like 1 or 2 games, people were like, nah, and then just not really seeing him at all.
Well,
in O's.
he's disabled right now,
Mhm.
so there is that.
Yeah, I was talking more about, you know, when he was pickable.
Yes, there was the week.
But,
Hey, that was also the week with Kiana. You're not wrong. Like the priorities
yeah, that's
are.
true, yeah.
We're about a week behind in terms of those priorities, it seems.
Definitely not wrong. Aatrox ban away here, and Varus picked up by Mammoth. And we've had this conversation a million times with, you know, Tahm Kench plus Ashe, Tahm Kench plus Varus, and the differences between Varus and Ashe. An order. Hovering Tryndamere, which I feel like may not be picked up. Just a hunch, though.
The old Tristana top lane hover as well from Tally has been seen in solo queue, though thank God it'll never be seen in a competitive game for the moment. In saying that, Dream has now locked in Renekton for his top laner.
Yeah.
And when you speak about shield breaking, Renekton is one of the
Predator.
few that actually got it.
Yeah, and we were just talking about this last game. Renekton didn't show his face, but was banned, of course, so still has an appearance rate. But yeah, now looking towards the last pick, which we'll see. So we've got Corki already. We're looking for a jungler. Yeah, it's going to be Trundle coming through. So yeah, no Olaf right here into the job.
No,
but
the
still
Trundle.
a semi-duelist, someone who's going to strip resistances. And a final pick of its Triples Vladimir.
Yeah, no surprises by Mammoth here with their last pick of the Vlad. They could be holding the Silas for mid lane. It could be a Vladimir top lane as well. That is something that we'll have to look at as they have the counter if they wanted it for the Renekton. You know, I was thinking maybe we see something like the Kled. You know, maybe we have a bit more action in the top lane, but it looks like it's going to be Fudge playing the Vlad, which one is only really crazy to me because Triple is so good at the Vladimir, and it could be a free lane in mid. But I think, like we mentioned in the first game, with the inclusion of Silas back into the solo lane picks, he is such a strong champion in mid lane to be able to look for skirmishes and 2v2s. And they've got a very strong jungler here in the Jarvan to facilitate the top side scaling. And that really, to me, is what we're looking at here for Mammoth. You know, solo laners scaling, kill threat definitely there in mid lane, however, and mid jungle 2v2 is really powerful as a result. Whereas a Trundle and a Corki is not the most conventional 2v2 you would see in response to that. But Trundle has some merit into the Jarvan, and does have a lot of kill threat, especially with ganks against, actually, a Vladimir with the pillar, and a Tahm Kench down in that bottom lane. So there is kill threat from one of the more unorthodox and lesser seen champions in the jungle role here for Spooks.
Yeah, for sure.
And just a lot of scaling, really, on the bottom side of the Rift, where Tally is meant to be the strength in the early game.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like the other comparison to game one is, you know, we talk about like signature champions, Akali going into the mid lane, no goes into the top lane. Same thing here as well with, you know, the Silas Vladimir being swapped up. But yeah, with those compositions, we have Choo Choo's joining us. How are you doing today?
Going well.
Going well.
Another week.
Another week. Yeah, I mean, how are you feeling personally about like how you know, your games are going? How like we're week 7 right now. You know, we're very much ramping towards the end of the split and order up and downs.
Yeah. We've been reflecting a lot, especially after our loss against Chiefs last week, where we were like 6k up. Funnily enough, like we usually always come out ahead in laning phase. We usually pull ourselves like a 1 to 1.5k gold lead in most of our games. It's just a matter of keeping that.
And yeah,
Not the great start.
not a great start.
But
unfortunately.
yeah, we're really using, especially like Mammoth are the best team at the moment at first. So like this is a good indication of where we are, especially leading into these final weeks.
Yeah, and when we're looking towards the draft here as well for you guys, I would say that the Trundle is the one that stands out to me as a surprise pick for someone like Spooks when there were options. What's the thought process behind the pick in this game?
So we knew when we got the Sivayumi and Corki that we scaled quite nicely. We had 2 carries with pretty decent range advantages. And we felt that like Mammoth are going to draft something like the Vladimir. They already locked in the Silas, so they need to get on top of us.
Yeah.
Which is why they also opted into something like the Varus the Job. And so we wanted something that was relatively good at disengaging, something that could make it when they hard engage on us, we could disrupt that team fight. And Sam's been wanting to pull out the Trundle, so we thought this was a good opportunity.
Yeah,
As you
that's
do.
fair. And kind of talking about your last draft, because we spoke to you after the Yasuo was picked up by Swiffer last week, right? And obviously did super well in lane, super well for the rest of the game, but ended up losing the game. Like, what are your thoughts now, like after that game and getting a week to digest that?
Yeah, so it was a very much needed win at the time, but it was a massive confidence boost, pulling out something like that, which we don't usually play, but we did very well with. I think it gave the players more confidence, but it was disappointing that we couldn't close out with such a substantial lead. But all we can really do is like use it as momentum to know that like we are a pretty good, aggressive early game team. It's just a matter of closing out a mid game, which hopefully we can demonstrate today.
And specifically with Swiffer, the sigh of relief that I saw on that man when he played the Yasuo and actually played it well. Is that something that you think has carried through? Like, is there a weight off his shoulders? Because I know he had the burden of, you know, I know and you know that he went like 1 in 45 Yasuo game. We lost in solo queue until he broke the curse. Has it made him a better mid laner now?
Yeah, I think when he, just from listening to like you guys or like people who are commentating the game, especially people at home who are watching the game, like mentions how odd it is to see Simon Swiffer on such a pick. But the fact that he did well again is just like a massive confidence boost for our team. And yeah, that's always a good thing for us.
Yeah, it was very visible on the field for sure. It's triple getting chucked out in the mid lane. Ooh, taking down from this one, but I think with the health potion, it should survive it. But yeah, I mean, you know, thank you for the insight and thanks for joining us. Always great hearing choo-choos, and yeah, best of luck.
Thank you.
A little bit of action, of course, happens through the early game here. So 3 minutes in, we've seen a gank from Spooks in mid lane at level 3. And Choo-Choos is actually running back to his room right now, I think, to check out just what happened. He didn't get a chance to listen to the comms here. Spook's also going to win the scuttle trade, but first blood, Yumi's. The #1 mistake a lot of people make as Yumi is just being caught out because you don't have flash.
Yeah, Spooks now walking into the pit, but you've got the bot lane coming up, of course. It's now kind of a 3 versus 3. I doubt either team really wants to fight right here, though, so they will back away. You know, I feel like we should keep a stopwatch on the desk, you know, so we can time the coaches when they run to the door, because I feel
He's
like...
a sprinter.
He is a sprinter, yeah. Maybe leading, in fact, you know. So yeah, that was a fast one. This is also like an obstacle course, you know. There's a lot of expensive equipment in the way. So
he navigates it well, expertly, you might say.
Need some wall running, that's what we need.
So, towards one of the things that Choo-Choo's mentioned here is the choice of Trundle is primarily about disengage. But some of the other things that Trundle does quite well is it makes their engage weaker. Where, you know, the other disengage options that I would look at is, say, a Gragas. Gragas can just ult everybody away, disperse the crowd, you know, separate the team fight, makes it easier against the team fight comp. But what Trundle does is it means that your backline can just one-hit the person engaging, one-hit the person diving. It means that someone like Babip, who's going to go in as a Jarvan, and Jarvan is actually a very fragile champion without the stone plate locked in to get that extra health, can just be one hit, just be instantly killed. And so I'd be surprised to see him go for the warrior build here, perhaps, and instead go towards more of the Cinderhulk, I'm just a full tank Jarvan, which I would prefer to see anyway, because he has enough damage on his team to try and survive that little bit longer. It also means to me that, you know, stopwatches are actually a really big deal for will we have a team fight success here from Mammoth in terms of timing, if Order are able to start it front to back how they want.
Good pillar right there, but didn't quite knock him into the stun, unfortunately, there from Tally, which was the play and what they were looking for, so will not result in a kill into the top side. But yeah, I imagine the tank build is better than what I would do in this situation, which is I'm going to die, so I'm just going to go pure DPS, and I'll pick up Guardian Angel.
Yeah, you could go the approach of I'll take someone with me, right?
Yeah.
But I think because the composition, again, already has enough damage, what they need is a front line. I think that's where he comes in, as Triple is hunting here.
Oh, yeah. Forcing out the Valkyrie right there. I mean, as you were talking about Silas, definitely a big emergence of mid lane Silas recently. Very, very strong, and definitely in the hands of Triple, who is an exceptional mid laner. You can see just putting Swift behind the turret right there, taking his rockets.
Yeah, needs
How
a
many
hover.
rockets does he get? Does he get the full 7?
I believe he gets the full 7. Yeah, so he gets the full. With Teemo, he gets all 3 shrooms, which means that if you hit 6 as top lane Silas at the same time as the top lane Teemo, or even before, you get 3 shrooms on the map before he does.
This is just rude. To be
It's
honest.
just a random, irrelevant fun fact with me because I've played Silas in an ARAM against the Teemo, and I had so many shrooms.
Yeah, that's disgusting. I imagine he also gets the big ones as well from.
Yeah, he
Corki
does, I
rockets.
believe. Yeah. But I think it's like 2. You get 2 big ones, right? Because
Yeah.
you don't get to
Out of
control.
7,
Yeah.
But you also wouldn't have the indicator, so you just have to know.
I'm not sure.
No.
You may have it on your spell bar. It might go red.
Tooltip.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not sure exactly.
Yeah.
That's a really niche specific
I need to go
thing.
find the Saris main's Discord and just like ask them really in-depth
Just harass them
questions.
about old
Yeah.
questions.
So what happens if you... Yeah.
You know some other really cool interactions while we're still in a very quiet start to this game.
Oh, I'm
is,
always down for cool interactions.
Kiana's interactions with wall champions are the best because you can make massive ults that go pretty much
Yeah,
around
right.
the rift. Talia, you can follow Talia's wall with your ult,
Connect the dots.
which can connect areas of the map, but you can also do it with Jarvan and Azir. But one of the interesting interactions with Jarvan is if you ult the Kiana, you can isolate her ult into just your wall.
Oh.
So you can lock it in
Right.
and just leave the
As
area,
long as
right?
you're not next to terrain, I imagine, right?
Yeah.
'Cause then it would also
Yeah,
just like
but if you're
lock on.
connected to terrain, hits everything.
I think you told me this, right? The Kiana ultimate can travel from base up until like first tower on your side.
So like
Like on bot lane.
yeah, bot
Yeah.
lane bush next to the inner turret.
So this bush we're looking at right now.
No, back inner turret.
Oh, inner turret, okay. That's still quite a long distance though.
It's heaps.
But it's not quite like I'm at base, I'm Ashe, I'm gonna chuck out an arrow.
No, you don't. You can't
Yeah.
global their spawn with your spawn
Yeah, right.
rating. Yeah,
Which would be pretty actually.
insane.
I always feel like there should be an interaction, you know, because you know when you hit that script from solo queue who has Jinx Rocket and it just snipes you when you recall. I'm not saying that's a good interaction, but I'm saying like if you have the ability to do that by hand, would be pretty cool. Yeah, Silas interaction. I feel like a lot of the new champions have like very different abilities, you know, like Silas stealing ultimates, Yuumi attaching onto a target.
Yeah, they are. They're very different. I think the technology has improved with their design, so they've been able to get more creative. Also, there's like 145 champions, so you have to get creative at some stage.
True.
We've gone through so many 3-hit passive champions. I think it is time we innovated.
I mean, I remember speaking to the champion designer of Jin, and he was saying that he wasn't allowed to do any more 3-hit passive champions, so he
Yeah.
made a 4-hit.
Yeah.
Which, you know, fair. You know, that is...
And then Kai'Sa comes out, you've got 5.
Yeah.
But with Guinzoos, it's 3.
Yep.
So he's cheating.
Up to the player. Dream. So the ultimate thrown out there by Jake, really just to keep him alive. Yeah, gets pinned against the wall right there. And this is a lot of harass coming in from this bottom lane, which obviously you would expect from a Varus lane.
Yep.
Hits 6, throws out the ultimate. But Spook's looking for a potential kill right
The
here.
pillar may
Slow
separate.
onto- Ooh, yeah. Great devour there from Destiny.
Yeah, very well done from the Tahm Kench. Now, one thing to note for this bottom lane is that it's not the lethality Varus build. So it's not just about hard winning the laning phase, though the harass is still very high and the range is still good. It is the Blade of the Ruin King on hit Varus build. So much more of a, you know, team fighting, going to sit there and kill the Renekton and Trundle type of style coming out of King. And he has got the front line to do it. He's got enough dive threat from the rest of his team that really his job is to kill those champions. So he could play it 2 ways. He could say, I'm just going to go lethality. We're all going to dive together, right? I'm just going to outrange their frontliners. This time he said, we're going to front to back. We're going to kill them a bit more effectively and then just flank with something like the Vladimir or the Jarvan, which is what you would expect to see from them in this game when it comes to team fight execution.
I just find it hilarious, like, Triple just has permanent Corki rockets.
Well, it's based off the, yeah.
Yeah. Gonna get the combo off here. Chains in.
Didn't get the package, but that is still almost a forced recall. The advantage of package before 20 minutes is you have home guard speed, but not yet. It's actually about to expire.
Gonna have to flying drag over that pillar. You know, I feel like Spooks has actually gotten a lot of value from this Trundle play. You know, I think I've seen a lot of Trundles recently where like I almost haven't actually seen the pillar, you know, for like 35 minutes, and then I'll see one in a team fight. But the amount of value that Spooks has managed to find so far in this game, which makes sense given like the champions I think on the Rift. Like you look at Vladimir, like this is one of the things that Vladimir finds very annoying.
You know, I do think that the value is very relative to, you know, what did they get from it? I think that the pillars have been, right? Like, Spooks has been very active on the Rift, and he has forced even flash from top laners, but he never got a kill for it.
Yeah.
All he got was the flash. He goes bot lane, he forces their disengage, but they don't get a kill for it. In fact, their bot lane had already lost the trade, he was just there to support it. He comes mid lane, he pushes Triple away from the tower, but that's because Triple already had Swiffer at 10 HP, you know? So, like, I think that Spooks is playing the early game, coming into the mid game now, I would say the best that he can, but not in the ways that have been able to actually get them gold advantages, just in ways that have kind of slowed down Mammoth's early game. And I still think that that's not the way that Mammoth will lose, right? I still don't think that's the way that Order will win, because they've made no purchase on any of those flashes being burned or summoner spells being used, and Mammoth are just happily scaling. Not that Order aren't, of course, with a Sivir and a Corki, but usually they win early games.
But yeah, right, but it's also within the context of the teams, and you look at Mammoth and it's just like, is a Mammoth game truly over until you hit like 35 minutes and you hit a team fight, right? Like the amount of games that I've seen now where Mammoth have just like had a 4K deficit and will just rock up into a fight like in the river and just win. And you're like, okay, well, there you go, Mammoth picks up yet another victory. You know, and I don't feel like you can say that for a lot of teams, to be honest.
I mean, the scary thing with Mammoth, right, is it's not even a 35-minute win. It's is their Nexus at 0 HP, because they still have a chance if not.
Yeah.
This is actually a force from Order where Mammoth have been able to respond to this. Herald very low. I think Mammoth want to take this. They want to actually get it. Jake's dead. They'll be able to get it, yeah. Push them away.
Yeah, keeping it exactly like 3,000 HP, just tapping it so you could get the quick kill. And Mammoth with enough members there, able to finish it off.
How did Jake die?
Push him away. That's a great question. I don't even know where his corpse is.
King is very low. He died at the turret.
Well, okay. Probably a dive then while the Herald was happening, because it's pretty rare to see a Yuumi just dead on her own.
Yeah, I'm just doing the mental gymnastics. It's like Dream is full health.
Yep.
So was Jake tanking the turret accidentally during a piece of harass and got sniped? Let's find out.
Right now. Thank you, observers.
Jake was tanking the turret from the Varus ultimate and died.
Yeah, that'll happen.
Yep.
Unfortunate. Extra kill down there into the bottom lane, going right onto King, and this will be Shelly set up in mid lane with 4 members of Mammoth here. It's a big hit. Also Cannon Wave, yeah, crashing into the turret. The flag drag away. So pretty similar to game 1. Not quite killing the turret, but getting it pretty damn low.
Yeah, and used before 14 minutes to ensure the turret plates. So that was, I think, the big force that Mammoth were going for there. You take the gold. You know, the point of using Herald after 14 minutes is definitively you want to break a turret.
Yeah.
But before 14 minutes, you'll take the 320 gold that it gives you and the control of the map. You know, you summon Herald, you bring 5 people to mid lane. If Order don't respond, they lose the turret. But because they respond, they don't have control of the rest of the map. You see a dragon fall as a result. So it's, you know, forcing your opponents around the rift, moving it elsewhere. That felt very close.
Yeah, it did. Literally, as the dragon died. Unfortunately, I don't think it would have been enough damage to kill from 300, but still, good timing there nonetheless. 2 dragons so far over to Mammoth, just slowly accruing small advantages. Going to be another Cloud Dragon to follow. And yeah, it's just kind of a slow burn right here. And just a bit of scaling, you know. Like, you look at top lane, Renekton's got a healthy lead, but a Vladimir at, you know, team fight stage is not going to really care that much. You look towards mid lane, Silas has had a pretty great laning phase. You can see, also, yeah, only 300 gold behind as well. Plates obviously helped a bunch for the gold there as well from Mammoth.
Yeah, I mean, I look at the Vladimir having a free laning phase against a Renekton, and I feel like that's the place that's scary more than anything else. Silas can handle the Corki decently well. Both of them very content to scale. But I don't think I would often look at a Renekton and say, content to scale. You know, he's one of those champions that can late game team fight, but you'd rather be another champion doing that exact same thing. Or at least that's how I see it, right? But his kill threat's always high against a very low mobility champion like a Varus. So he still has a role. He still has a purpose in a team fight. And once you get a Shojin, if he goes that build, can just stun repeatedly, lock someone down, and, you know, very much relevant.
Yeah, Renekton kind of hits a weird phase in like late game where he's like something you can't like totally ignore, but you only want to like half ignore, you know, like because his damage does ramp up with like Dominus, you know, it's like some 5k user, like the damage does ramp up over time in like a team fight, but definitely not the same threat as like early game, mid game Renekton.
It's the kind of thing where if you're an AD carry and Renekton charges at you late game, you're still screaming wildly asking for help, but everyone else is kind of like whatever, you know, like there's a Renekton there.
Like we will deal with this, don't worry about it. Whereas, you know, you have like an Akali running at your face, or in this case, Corki and Trundle turning corner, seeing through people, saying maybe not. But it has the package, of course, looking for a potential play.
Just expires though. The package timings have been very unfortunate, I feel like, for Swiffer here.
Yeah.
Usually you get the package, you want to try and use that to make a play, because they're going to try and hold mid lane, triple, gets the back away.
Throws at the pillar once again. Trying to make it back to this turret. Has to flash away from the Yuumi ultimate. Yeah, tries to follow into the turret as he's throwing it out. And yeah, that's actually a pretty big deal right there. Triple losing his flash, but there is no real big objective to fight over. No Herald, no Dragon, which would kind of be a bit of an A-ramp.
Yeah, the flash was effectively the trade-off for the damage onto the mid lane outer turret as well. The turret doesn't fall, but it's even closer now to being removed off the map, and that's a lot of control for Mammoth. So you would look at it if you were them and say that was worth it, because we actually didn't die, it was just a flash. The risk is dying with that flash used, with that flash down now. You know, Order able to come back, but they haven't been able to so far in this game. And at the same time, Mammoth just break bot lane as a result of bringing Order to mid lane. Seeing the Yuumi ultimate used, they've flipped the map as well. Dream is mid. And Mammoth, they really want this second turret.
Yeah,
Order can't contest.
Of Abyssal Voyage, everyone just kind of appearing in mid lane, knocked down the turret that was already set up by that previous Shelly play, and with 17 minutes in, and that's 2 towers, one of them being mid lane. Mammoth just really have control over this game.
And you know, one of the scariest things for me in this game is to be Dream as a Sivir. You've got Flash, which means the Jarvan ult can't kill you right now, but that's a long cooldown that a single Jarvan ultimate in a skirmish could force from you, right? If you don't use that, your lack of mobility means you probably just die to that Jarvan in the burst that's with the rest of the team. So the really risky thing here for me is just being Dream for the rest of this game. Because if you use that, even if you flash the Jarvan ult, there could be a Vladimir on a flank. And you need the flash almost to get away from him, right? There's just so many scary features. And realistically, we're getting close to those item spikes, those break points where both teams will be a little bit more content. But I've said this before, I think I would rather actually be Mammoth.
Wouldn't we all? I mean, 10-2, you know, if we were just picking a team, what team would I want to be on? Probably Mammoth.
You reckon?
If I had to choose right now, I'd probably say Bombers, you know, after what we saw today. Like, because that's very much like an exponential growth, you know, whereas I look at Mammoth and it's just like, they've been pretty good throughout the whole split.
What about a player? Is there a player you would want to be on a team with? Let's not say a team.
Oh, on a team with?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, who would your best duo buddy in the OPL be?
Oh, if you were like duo queuing?
I'd pick Ryoma, 100% of the time.
Yeah, see, like, I would immediately look at mid lane, right? Because as a top lane, I would want to, like, control both solo lanes, but I'd also look towards junglers at the same time, you know? Yeah, Ryoma would be, like, definitely up there. Triple, I think, to be honest. Like, I look at all, like, the mid laners with, like, signature champions, and I look at, like, you know, Ryoma's Akali, like a Vladimir for triple, that type of thing.
Yeah, I think as a support, I would pick Raze. As, like, he is, and this has actually been mentioned by Spawn and Ejim a lot as well, but, like, if you're going to start a team, build a super team, I actually would always start with Raze. I think that's just true. So, like, for a duo buddy, I think I'd look at him, but Rome is just a freak. He's just so good at League, right? Like, how would you not pick him if we're looking at duo buddies?
Yeah, right. Then again, if I was making a team, I would just like make a meme team, right? Like the American Dream. I would pick up Pabu.
You sure you wouldn't just pick the anime team?
Yeah, I mean, I could do that too. Like, there's a surprising amount of people. Like, I mentioned anime once, and they all just converged on me on Twitter. I was like, all right. Some of them are coaches though, so I could also make the anime team, and that would be pretty hype.
There was also a post. I forget who it was, but once Cupcake had played for the Chiefs, there was a post saying, if the coaches made a team, would they win the OPL? And when you think about who the coaches are in this league, a lot of them are former players now, former pro players in some regard. Now, Cupcake is a coach, but he just played and won with the Chiefs. Sure. Looked very good. Choo Choo's was an absolute star when he was playing as well, the coach of Order in this game. Soul Strikes is a big brain, but he was also a former pro player for the Direwolves.
Yeah.
You know, like
Soul Strikes, Juves, like
Juves, yeah, he outsmarted Levi.
Yes, he did.
We also have a decent mix of roles. Actually, no, we don't. We have junglers and supports.
There's this guy called Rustang Sally as well. He's a support though.
In a past life, he was a
people
pro
would be
player.
fighting.
People don't even realize he was. That's how long ago it was.
Are we including like, I mean, you know, Jake Spawn Tiberi?
Well, you know, I played on a team with Choo Choos once.
How'd that go?
Well, I was the sub mid laner and he wasn't there, so I never actually played on a team with Choo Choos.
Right, but you were on the paperwork.
Yes.
But you didn't answer the question. Would that team win?
I think we'd finish top 4.
Top 4.
So the thing is, I reckon we'd win because no team would have a coach.
Right, yeah.
So we'd win.
Or package play into the mid lane, follow up from Yumi. I like the idea, but they're just locked in place. Swiffer just immediately dies, and Yumi says, I'm getting the heck out of here. Another kill over to Mammoth in the mid lane.
Yeah, Jake able to survive, but Swiffer going down. Flash is still available for him, so really tragic death. But at the same time, he has the teleport if Order can buy some time around this Baron. 21 minutes in means the DPS shouldn't be exceptionally high, but they've got a Gwynsu's Rage Blade, Blade of the Ruin King, Varus. That is getting low. It's at 4,000.
It's enough of a threat to force Order out here to try and fight them, but Spooks is low, has to flash the wall. The Baron's already down. Spooks still backing away with the Hemo Plague. Will be enough damage? No. Tally dashing away to the tower. And those are not some good faces I'm seeing right now from Order. That was disastrous. Kill in the mid lane into a perfect Baron setup there from Mammoth. And that's Baron at 21 minutes, 22 minutes now.
And that's a Vladimir and a Silas just pushing away Spooks on the Trundle, and an exceptional amount of heals coming out of Jake to keep him alive. Doesn't actually mean they'll get any closer to the Baron buff itself. So now we find ourselves in a somewhat similar position to last game, right? It's 3-0 in kills, it's 3-0 in turrets, but we found ourselves at a 7,000 gold lead roughly at 22 minutes. And with the opportunity for that to just plainly explode. The difference between this game and the last one is about 6 minutes of time.
Yeah, so Vladimir is now ahead in terms of gold into the top lane, so he got the free laning phase, gets out of lane, just farms all day. And Mammoth have well and truly just reached the stage in the game that they always strive for. You know, back in the LPL, we had the Elder Dragon team that we called them. And I don't know what I would call Mammoth. I don't know when they specifically would turn online. Maybe they're the Baron National team.
I think you just called them the super team.
The super team. 2 wards right here. Feels like a bit of a bait, but Mammoth just walking to the bottom lane. The fact that you can have 3 members of the mid lane being enough of a threat right there. It's in a turret, so what is with double wards this game? Mammoth able to
nice
to the bottom lane. They find King, but Town can't just exist, so he's just going to gobble him up and throw him back to safety.
Yeah, Thomas buys some time, so thankfully for King, Destiny is there to keep him healthy, but that was actually still a really nice pillar used by Spooks. At the threat of the engage, the damage that was taken by Mammoth is enough to push them back from that turret. So they can't threaten the inhibitor turret yet, but they will get themselves the free inner turret in mid lane to break. They haven't actually set up side lanes in top, so the minion wave is pushing favorably for Order, and that does mean that Mammoth are playing a 2-lane game. For me, you look at this and you say, well, now they have to threaten the dive, but when you think about the Baron fight, Fudge used his flash. So the threat of the flank is a little bit harder to execute on now, and that may result in this is really all that Mammoth get, unless Order make a mistake and are punished from this point.
Yeah, this is problematic to say the least. Mammoth have pretty much picked up all the standing gold right here. About 8,000 gold. Another Baron buff wave.
The Vlad down, actually. They want this.
Wave here. Looking against the turret, they'll just engage straight up with Babip. Airborne, taken down. King will get himself another kill. Triple goes into the Zhonya's. Fudge backing away, but Tally maybe a little too far forward right here. King's able to step underneath the turret, flashed away. And now they can siege the turret essentially in peace. Swift is sticking around with his support, but with one more wave trickling in and another wave of Baron buffed minions, I think Mammoth should be able to crack the base open.
I think they just know they're strong enough to be able to force in the way that they did. Sivers, Corki, they've got a lot of wave clear, but the Trundle doesn't have a lot of survivability to get away from the damage being thrown out of their opponents. So Order will lose the tower in bot lane, though the inhibitor stands. And, you know, that's not a good Baron buff to deal with if you're Order, but you take that. Having an inhibitor alive, you save the day a little bit here. You buy yourself much more time as Mammoth will disengage to Dragon. It is a third cloud for what it's worth. Yep. That's a pretty big deal, but it looks like the reset, and that's what they'll get from that.
I mean, at the end of the day, you know, 2 towers, well, actually 3 towers and bot lane inhibitor now being open, still a big deal here. But yeah, live to fight another day is what Order will be happy about. Hitting Also, second items across the board just. Corki in the mid lane, bottom lane as well for Civet, but Mammoth on the flip side, looking towards their third, if not already picked it up. You look towards the likes of King, who is now 3.5. Top lane, 2 items, mid lane, 2.5. Probably close as well to a third in the jungle. Very, very tanky. You know, I feel like what happened there to Spooks is what Order wanted to do to Mammoth, but that just turns the tables being so far ahead right now.
Yeah, rushes the Warmogs as well as his second item, so he is able to threaten engages, disengage. What it also means for Mammoth is if they want to play a dance around Baron, they can, because he's more than happy to tank that one and then just regenerate all of his health back. So I wouldn't be shocked to see a type of setup similar to the last Baron from Mammoth, where they actually just put King, Destiny, and Babip in the Baron area.
Yep.
Maybe the 2 of them hit Baron, the rest can zone, control side lanes. And at the end of the day, the biggest victory for Order is still that their bot lane inhibitor stands. Because as it does, no supers funnel down to that lane, and it does mean that Order can try and set up a slow push with Swiffer right now, get the wave pushing back towards Mammoth, and then they may just be a little bit more comfortable with the Baron setup to try and keep 5 people in the area to navigate it.
Yeah, Mammoth also moves very quick now with triple Cloud Dragons. Yuumi also gets thrown out. And it's now triples ultimate. Mammoth moving back into the jungle and just rotating, see if they find themselves a pick.
Yeah.
Some chip damage onto a turret, but yeah, I mean, like triple Cloud, you can actually just watch them move around. Like it's just, it almost looks like you're watching League on like 1.25 on YouTube, you know? Just moving so quick.
And that may have been an okay Yuumi ult to throw out with a minute till Baron spawns. You should be able to get that up and available again for when the Baron is up. But I don't think that's the hill they want to die on, the top lane inner turret. So they'll be able to sacrifice that one with only the cost of a single ultimate. No big complaints here from Order. They still need to try and get some control in the blue side quadrant of the map. They don't know that Mammoth have reset, however. And so you'll see Order go through mid lane to control the wave first. From here, Pillars, Yuumi Qs, force their way into the jungle as best they can, but they've already missed a single ward that could flank them in that middle lane, and that could be the place that Fudge comes from if they wanted to force a fight.
But still, they have this opportunity, you know, you really hit the nail on the head, like bottom lane inhibitor not dying, big deal. No one has to actively deal with that until, you know, someone else from Mammoth goes down there and Sherpas the minion wave in. But Dream is able to sit mid lane, soak up the wave, help out with clearing out the wards as well, but now with Baron spawning. Yeah, Mammoth are around the area. They're actually just starting off with 3 people. I mean, they have a huge Jarvan who is just not taking damage. Fudge in a 1 versus 3. If they can take him down, this would be a big help for Order, but goes into the Zhonya's, and the help from Silas and Yuumi ulting will be enough. 2 versus 3 or 4 actually there from Order to actually stop them from dying. He moves into the mid lane. Fudge is not dead, and he's a Vladimir, so he's going to get all of that health back. Baron buff once again, second Baron of the game, pushing down his mid lane.
Almost exactly how you would see it happening as well for Mammoth. They don't need Fudge, they don't need triple to lock the Baron down. And now they just rampage through mid lane teardown structures. The inhibitor should be free. They could even walk towards bot where the inhibitor's open. And Order, very hard to draw the line here and say this is where we fight as they're going.
Yeah, they'll just step up, and Swiffer too far forwards will get eliminated by Babip. Fudge pushing forwards now. Triple finds himself the Renekton ultimate, and Spooks caught out of no man's land. He's about to fall, as will the inhibitor right here, and this actually could just be the game. 2 kills going over to Mammoth. Renekton on the run, and a minion wave right here as well. Another pre-30-minute push right here for a potential win. Dream gets caught on the flank drag right there from Babip. And Renekton, he's trying to clear out the minions, but there's an entire team to deal with and to reckon with right now as Mammoth looking towards the Nexus, looking towards the spawn pad. And 29 minutes, Mammoth, in a near-flawless game, will pick up the win.
And we have seen back-to-back performances from the winning teams near flawless, like you mentioned. It was Bombers in Game 1, it's Mammoth in Game 2 here today against Order. And a spectacular showing coming out of them. This really, to me, just kind of increases the gap between what seems like the top and the middle of the pack here in the OPL. Such a good showing from them, honestly. From start to finish, you know, the top lane matchup might not be favorable, doesn't lose the lane.
Yep.
Does have to use flash, but they don't get punished. Those summoner spells being used by the Trundle never resulted in deaths for the side of Mammoth. And a convincing victory in the end once they get the lead at all.
Yeah, I mean, that's it, right? Like, we've seen so many, I feel like, comeback or, like, half-half wins from, like, Mammoth, but that was just control from the start, transitioning into the mid-game where they already have a strong fight and they are stronger than their opponents, and they clean up, right?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like we've seen it all now from Mammoth. You know, it's not quite the same as, like, well, this team has just smashed every single game in the early game and it's the same formula. No, we've actually seen both sides, and I think that, as I said before, it's the hallmark of a good team to be able to win from behind, win from ahead, and in both ways do the correct thing and execute on
And there's a couple of things for me that really stand out. One, I actually think that red side's in a really good position right now with the meta starting to shift towards solo laners being more powerful. And having that agency for a team like Mammoth is a very big deal. King and Destiny are two of the best weak side type players that you'll see in the OPL. They're just so good at even getting leads in matchups where maybe they shouldn't. They're the two people that if you get in solo queue, everyone's like, oh, god damn it, King and Destiny on the other team, we lose. You know, like they're just that good at that type of play. But their solo laners are just playing like powerhouses right now.
Right.
And with slow gameplay, like not going kill hungry, just macro gameplay. 3 kills on the board and a 6k gold lead, you know? Like they're able to win through just farming slowly.
Yeah, you know, having rough laning phases, still just like, not even losing with grace, just like absorbing the pressure and then like coming out of lane, still having gold advantage, you know, just impressive stuff across the board in early, mid, and late game, I would say, from Mammoth.
Yeah.
So very exciting to see what they do in the future weeks. For now, though, I'm going to send it over to Catch for a player interview.
Holy shit!
Yes, that was a, I wouldn't say exciting game, but I guess it's exciting for us to see that we've finally won a game
Please.
where we haven't been like 3k gold down early game.
Yeah.
So
It was
good.
consistent from go to woe. It was one of those exciting games as well where you go, oh yeah, as it starts, you go, okay, they're playing well, and then, yeah, this seems pretty dominant. And then by the end, you're like, oh, ORD aren't actually going to get a kill this game. And then it takes on a whole new, like, it's a true stomping there at that point. Because I think it's the first 0-kill game we've had this split.
yes, I mean, in scrims and in practice, I don't think at least, I don't think 1 in 50 games goes like that.
Yeah.
Like, I've never seen a 0-0 game or like just such a slow game, and I think we adapted well considering like. Obviously, in practice, everyone like tries a little more crazy stuff.
Yeah.
There's always just like 20 kills, 30 kills, but I think we played well considering we've never been in this environment, like this slow, like macro-focused gameplay.
And so I've been asking the team today, how are you finding the new patch as well? Because there's obviously a lot of big changes.
I don't think it was like, I saw a lot of like Twitter reactions, like, why would you change so much about the game? But I honestly don't think much has changed. Like, we saw like the support picks this game.
Yep.
Both Tom and Yumi were nerfed, and still like teams prioritize it so highly.
Yep.
I don't think much has changed about the game at all,
You're just going
except for
about your
Silas.
business. Except for Silas.
Except for Silas, I think Silas is really strong.
I have a question for you. We answered for this ourselves among the casters. Who do you think on Mammoth would win in a Hunger Games scenario?
Hunger Games.
Like a battle royale, one man standing at the end.
Manager,
Real life,
Kuden.
not like a game.
Yeah,
Kuden.
Kuden, yeah.
Explain why.
I mean, like, if you're in a battle royale, if you're in a battle royale situation,
Yep.
it's like who is the most like primal being that can just out muscle everyone?
Yep.
And Kuden is pretty much a gorilla, right? Like
Right. Okay.
some sort of, he's not a Homo sapiens. He's probably something better than that. He can just, I think he could take down the whole OPL.
Yeah. Right. Okay. You think that we all need to be watching out for him? It's not
Yes.
just Mammoth.
He will consume everything, absorb every nutrient. He'll take down any player, muscle. Like, he's not a big man, but I think he could maul some people in the league, I think.
I'm scared, and I don't even spend any time with him now.
Yeah.
Finally, Bryce made a reference to you before the game started, which no one in the room understood about your Caitlyn, that you basically had like a
Yes,
Caitlyn
yes.
pocket pick. And then he showed me Carbon's Twitter with the video. So for those of you, go to Carbon's Twitter, check it out. You getting some good kills on Caitlyn, and then firing up the ulti, and then as it pops off, leaping back in your chair like your small boy body couldn't handle the recoil and the rifle. You need some of those nutrients we were talking about.
Yep.
And then you topple off the chair. Did you injure yourself in any major
No.
way? You just tanked that roll.
I've done more crazy stuff in the house.
Mm-hmm.
Say that room, a lot of mad things has happened, and if there was like a 1 out of like a 1
Like
out
a
of 10,
scale.
yeah, if it was a scale,
Yep.
that's probably like a 5.
Can you give me like what's up close to the 9-10 range? That's also safe for broadcast.
Stuff to do with Kuden.
I have so many questions, and you need to win another game so that I can ask about more Kuden stories. But until then, please enjoy this short break and this video about Bailey for some reason.
So we'd win.
All packet play into the mid lane, follow up from Yumi. I like the idea, but they're just locked in place. Swiffer just immediately dies.
The inhibitor should be free. They could even walk towards bot where the inhibitor's open. And Order, very hard to draw the line here and say this is where we fight as they're going.
Yeah, they'll just step up, and Swiffer too far forwards will get eliminated by Babip. Fudge pushing forwards now. Triple finds himself the Renekton ultimate, and Spooks caught out in no man's land. He's about to fall, as will the inhibitor right here, and this actually could just be the game. 2 kills going over to Mammoth. Renekton on the run, and a minion wave right here as well. Another pre-30-minute push right here for a potential win. Dream gets caught on the flank drag right there from Babip. And Renekton, he's trying to clear out the minions, but there's an entire team to deal with and to reckon with right now as Mammoth looking towards the Nexus, looking towards the spawn pad. And 29 minutes, Mammoth, in a near flawless game, will pick up the win.
You knew at least.
This is the perfect starting point for Bailey's GoPro.
And in classic Bailey fashion, you've already ruined the show.
But so they have to 50-50 top lane, right? You're terrible at eating. Which is the Kled versus the Akali. As Paul said, kind of a swinging match. Pirates, and like, they're not the captain anymore, and all the other bad C and allergies that I can throw out there. Like, it's pretty much do or die.
Do you want a treat? Oh. Hey, hey. Oh.
Yum, 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 yum. Oh, yeah. Oh, yum, oh, yum,
I don't know if someone that's named after the Australian cricket team deserves a treat after our pathetic performances.
Hey bud, how's your filming going? Your cinematography career? Good? Hello!
No, we're too busy being cold.
Yeah, you scoop up those chicken scraps.
Sorry that I feel like you're on guard now. I have nothing ridiculous prepared for you. The dog's here. I could probably get you a maxi bomb because I apparently have that kind of power.
Where's my headset?
Nexus is about to explode, no rush.
Doggy massage. I wish we were live and Jake's going, oh, doggy massage. I wish that was...
Well, I feel like that didn't happen. We captured some of it just then, so I'm appreciative for the replay. That is it for the professional games of League of Legends tonight. Of course, we have the MPL coming up.
At Macca's, our burgers are now hotter, juicier, and tastier, with onions added at the grill for more flavour, perfectly melted